Hey everyone, it's Tomer, and I'm back with another budget commander. This episode is extra special for two reasons. The first reason is that I'm a huge Izzet fanboy. I love everything about the guild, and I especially love its guildmaster Niv-Mizzet. So I'm happy to announce that this latest printing of Niv-Mizzet Parun is the best version of him yet, and that this budget brew that I'm about to share with you is one of the strongest budget decks I've ever made. The second reason this episode is special is it's actually the result of a collaboration with the fine folks at Laboratory Maniacs, which is a YouTube channel and podcast that focuses on the competitive side of Commander. They invited me to do a live brew with them to build a budgetless competitive Niv-Mizzet deck, which I then used as a starting point for this budget brew, which probably explains why this deck ended up being so powerful. So if you're looking for a high-powered, budgetless, competitive version of Niv-Mizzet, I highly recommend checking them out in the video description below. So to start our budget brew, let's first look at our commander. Being a 5/5 flyer that can't be countered for 6 converted mana cost is a good start, but the real power of this card comes from its 2 triggered abilities. Whenever we draw a card, Niv-Mizzet deals 1 damage to any target. The more cards we draw, the more damage Niv-Mizzet does, machine gunning down our opposing creatures, and eventually pinging our opponents to death. I love drawing cards, so a commander that encourages me to draw more cards is a big plus in my book. The second triggered ability lets us draw a card whenever anyone casts an instant or sorcery, not just us, but our opponents too. This ends up being a huge source of card draw for us, which also triggers Niv-Mizzet's first ability to continue pinging. Because Niv-Mizzet draws cards whenever anyone plays instants or sorceries, this deck is going to be built around instants or sorceries, which is an archetype known as Spellslinger. This will maximize the value we get out of Niv-Mizzet, keeping our hand full of cards while pinging away all of the opposition. So the first thing we need to figure out is how this deck is supposed to win. Luckily, we have very powerful budget combos that can knock out easy wins. The first is the classic Curiosity combo. Simply pair up Niv-Mizzet with any of these 3 cards, then draw a card. When you draw a card, Niv-Mizzet can ping an opponent, which then starts a loop of drawing cards and pinging opponents for as long as you like. If you assemble this combo, the opponents need an instant speed answer or you just win the game. The only downside of this combo is that we might draw our deck before dealing lethal damage to all our opponents, but fortunately, we have a variety of cards that can mitigate that problem. Commit to Memory, Elixir of Immortality, and Learn from the Past are all good ways to shuffle our graveyard back into our library to keep the loop going. Of these, Commit to Memory is the best since the first half is powerful on its own, and we can cast the second half from our graveyard. Or we can just intentionally deck ourselves with Laboratory Maniac on the battlefield and win the game that way. We have one more easy budget combo win available: Isochron, Scepter, and Dramatic Reversal. With Niv-Mizzet on the battlefield, all we need to do is cast Isochron Scepter and imprint Dramatic Reversal on it. Then, as long as we have mana rocks that tap for 2 or more mana total, we can activate Scepter to cast Reversal, which untaps all our non-land permanents including our mana rocks, and then use the untapped mana rocks to activate Scepter, casting Dramatic Reversal infinite times, drawing infinite cards off Niv-Mizzet, and dealing infinite damage. This combo is not only easy to pull off, but it also has many synergies outside of Niv-Mizzet, such as generating infinite mana and triggering other Spellslinger cards. So these 2 combos will be how we want to win the game: drawing infinite cards and dealing infinite damage with Niv-Mizzet. With our game plan locked in, the rest of the deck will be filled with cards that support this plan. We need to ramp, defend our board, slow down our opponents, and eventually find our combo pieces to win the game. The first thing we need to figure out is our mana base, our ramp and lands. Our commander demands triple blue and triple red to be cast, and we need a mana base that consistently produce that mana so we can cast Niv-Mizzet when we want to. This means mana fixing is more important than usual for us, which makes traditional powerful Izzet mana cards that only produce colorless mana a little bit worse in this deck. That's not to say you should cut your Soul Ring or Mana Crypt, but you should generally be evaluating mana fixing higher than usual and colorless options a little bit lower. Some good ramp options include Izzet Signet, Star Compass, Commander's Sphere, and Gilded Lotus. Our commander costs a lot of mana, and dropping all of our combo pieces in a single turn costs a minimum of 8 mana, so I recommend running a lot of ramp in this deck, at least 14 sources. A high ramp count also lets us cast the cards that we'll be drawing, and we'll be drawing a lot of cards. Speaking of card draw, here are some of the best ways we'll be drawing cards. Our entire deck is about drawing tons of cards in a mana efficient way so that we can quickly find our combo pieces. Cantrips like Preordain, looters like Faithless Looting, and wheels like Windfall and Fateful Showdown let us efficiently see as many cards as possible as we search for our combos. We're usually discarding a bunch of cards while we cycle through our deck, which enables our graveyard subtheme. We have a ton of spells we can cast from our graveyard thanks to mechanics like Flashback and Jumpstart. We can discard them early with our looters and then play them later. For even more card draw, we've got stuff like Think Twice, Chemist's Insight, and Deep Analysis. A full graveyard also helps us play powerful delve cards like Dig Through Time. With all this card draw and ramp, we'll be blasting through our deck to find whatever we need. While ramping and drawing cards is the purest form of Magic, unfortunately we need to have other stuff on our board because otherwise we'll be vulnerable to attacks. Our opponents will already be inclined to attack us since we're a combo deck, and it would simply be inefficient to spend a card to kill every single random 4/4 sent our way, so instead we should play a few cards that will act as deterrents. Luckily, Spellslinger provides us with perfect answers with a bunch of amazing token generators. Young Pyromancer, Tolerant Sky Summoner, Murmuring Mystic, and Metallurgic Summonings produce tokens whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, and we'll be casting a lot of those. These tokens will serve as excellent blockers, and if they are left alive long enough, we can even start attacking and possibly killing opponents with an army of tokens. Next, we'll need interactions so we can stop our opponents from winning the game and stop our opponents from getting in our way when we go for our own combo win. The first part of our interaction package is Counter Magic, which is best used to stop our opponent's pesky instants and sorceries that we don't want resolving. We've got Counterspell and Negate to cheaply stop most threats. Izzet Charm is a sweet, versatile card that does 3 things we like, including countering, and Calculated Dismissal is just perfect here because it's easy to cast and we consistently have Spell Mastery, so we get to scry 2 and dig for our combos. For targeted artifact removal, we're running Byforce, which is a lower price but just as good Vandal Blast, and Mog Salvage, which I'm surprised so few people run because it's an instant speed artifact removal that usually costs 0 mana. We're also running quite a few targeted creature removal spells, including Beacon Bolt, which can be discarded early and cast later on, and Rapid Hybridization, which is a format staple, instant speed, costs just a single blue mana. It's really good. We're packing 3 creature board wipes as well. Mizzet Mortars is targeted creature removal or a one-sided wipe that kills all but the toughest creatures. Chain Reaction is Red's version of Wrath of God and is about as effective in a multiplayer game. And Starstorm is a real treat since it's an instant speed board wipe that we can cycle away if we don't need it. There are more creature board wipes available to us that I list in the article, but I felt like 3 was the correct number in this deck. Last but not least, we've got some tutors to help us find our combo pieces more consistently. Izzet doesn't have a whole lot of tutors that I could fit in our budget, but there's a few excellent ones, specifically the transmute cards. Merle the Mixer can grab Isochron's Scepter and Dramatic Reversal. Dizzy Spell can fetch up Curiosity. And Drift of Phantasms snags either a Tandem Lookout or Ophidian Eye. With the amount of card draw, scrying, cycling, and tutoring we'll be doing, we'll be consistently assembling our combos without issue. Finally, here are the sample decks. The first 2 are $50 decks. The first one runs the Curiosity combo cards and the Isochron Scepter combo. The second $50 list drops the Isochron Scepter combo, which frees up about $8 to spend on minor upgrades to the mana base and elsewhere. Our third and final sample list increases the budget to $100. We're running both the Curiosity and Scepter combos, so the goal is the exact same, but we have a much better mana base along with better tutors and cantrips. There's still a lot of upgrades we can make, but this should demonstrate how I'd go about making minor changes. And if you're looking for a budgetless version of this deck, remember to check out Laboratory Maniac's version in the video description. And if you're looking for more options for this deck, catering to every single option possible, check out the article. I go far more in depth there. And that's it for budget Niv-Mizzet Parun. I hope you enjoyed this brew, and I'll be back to wrap up the Commander 2018 deck upgrades, which are long overdue at this point. After that, let me know in the comments section below what I should brew next. And until then, everyone, see ya! Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up with the latest and greatest, click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to check out similar videos, click on the links here and here.